Joining me today is Susan Stuebner, the president of Colby Sawyer College. Susan, thanks so much for having us here in the library.
Oh, thanks so much for having us, John.
What has it been, about 8 weeks that you've been on the job?
About 8 weeks, yes.
So time flies, doesn't it?
It sure does. It sure does.
I guess I'd like to start getting a chance to get to know you.
Sure.
And sort of how you got here. I mean, my first question is, how does somebody from Minnesota even sort of wind their way into New Hampshire?
Sure. Sure. Well, full disclosure, my father is actually a class of 53 at Dartmouth, and my uncle's a 66, but I'm the youngest of four, and my sister was in the third year of Dartmouth going co-ed, just stayed a year. One of my older brothers got in and chose to go somewhere else, so I wasn't going to even think about it, but I wanted to play Division I basketball, and I wanted to get a great education. And I came out on homecoming weekend, and at the time, the team had won 3 Ivy League championships in a row, and I just fell in love with both the academics and the athletics and the beauty of this region.
So you started up in Hanover, and you moved eventually just down I-89 to New London.
That's right,
so
yeah.
There must have been a little bit of a travel between Hanover and New London.
There was a lot of time in Pennsylvania, more than I would have imagined, but spent about 10 years total between Hanover and Boston, and a lot of time on 93 and 89. And I know I haven't lived here 10 generations, so I can't call myself a New Englander, but this really is my heart home. I just love this region.
How does somebody choose or fall into that path of becoming a president of a college? I mean,
Sure.
I don't see, if I were a faculty member, I'd say, in administration, I never want to do that. And if I wanted to be the president of something, I'd say a college. No, I'd go be a business.
Right.
How do you find?
How does this happen?
Yeah.
Well, quickly, it's kind of a 3-part answer, and I'll be quick with all 3. First was just discovering higher ed was a career. I was a psychology major, and I did a creative writing thesis at Dartmouth. So, primed for the world with a great liberal arts education. But I worked at the Tuck School of Business and had 2 great mentors there who taught me that higher ed was a career. So started in admissions and actually coaching at a small college in Pennsylvania. And it was a school that had declared financial exigency. So I learned from my time at Dartmouth what it's like to have a school with tremendous resources to working for a school that is trying to do many of the same things, but with far less resources. So that's what prompted me to pursue, it really became my professional passion of how do we sustain these colleges with endowments of 100 or 200 million or less that are really serving high quality students that maybe haven't found their stride yet. And as for the presidency, I've been fortunate since graduate school the last 13 years to be in senior officer roles that were really institutionally based, strategic planning, finance, and administration. And just again, had some great mentors who encouraged me on this path. Certainly wasn't my dream as a 7-year-old, but it's been an incredibly rewarding work, and this position is really in many ways a dream come true.
Did the search committee approach you? Did you apply? How did you know this was going to be a good fit here at Colby Sawyer and your experience?
Well, ironically, I met Peggy Stock during my master's program at Harvard and continued on at Harvard in my doctoral work and almost included Colby Sawyer in my dissertation. I went with a couple other schools in New Hampshire instead, but the issues that Peggy had highlighted during that time with our class really resonated with me, and certainly knew the area was beautiful. I knew a little bit about some of the challenges the institution had faced, as well as the opportunities. So when I saw the position open, it was one of those where I knew I needed to apply. I'd only been at Allegheny for 3 years, so I did talk to my president about it first, and fortunately he gave me his full endorsement, and away we went.
So Peggy Stock was the president that took Colby Sawyer co-ed.
That's correct.
What's the legacy of inheriting a school that was a single-sex school and now is fully co-ed?
That's a great question. I think one of the things, I've had the opportunity to get out and meet a lot of alums in the last 8 weeks, and it's really been a pleasure. And from all different decades, from the class of 2012 back to those in the early 40s. And so every decade, I think, has a slightly different experience with their Colby Sawyer memories. But the thing to me that has really remained consistent is that personalized attention almost every alum that I talk to talks about finding their confidence here thanks to the personal attention that they've gotten from faculty and that close atmosphere that we have here. So we might look a little different, all women, 2-year, 4-year, now co-ed and 4-year in our first master's. But I think the essence and the core values remain the same.
And with that, I got to cut you off.
Sure.
When we return, we're going to continue our conversation focusing on Colby Sawyer and its core values. So please stay with us.